Awesome, cool. Hey everyone, we're going to talk about deploying to production or how to build dumb shit and share it with your friends. So we'll get into why in a second. It'll all make sense. To start off with us, Simon's basically covered all about us. My name's Hew. I work for a little startup called Applied. We make a software that helps you hire people in an unbiased way and hire the best person. If you want to learn how to hire great developers, come chat with me.
Hey, I'm Thomas. I actually recently failed to put together a video application on, so I put the shelves in the wrong way around, so the chipboard was showing. That was embarrassing. But I am looking for a job as a software engineer, so I can totally build things like promise.
Cool. So this talk is kind of a fallout from a workshop we did at a conference called CityJs recently, where we got a room full of people to build a tic-tac-toe game with a AI-powered backend. Some of you might be thinking, why would you build AI to do tic-tac-toe? Because we could. So, quick question. What's the coolest thing about JavaScript? Hands up. Oh, come on. Curly brackets. Okay, fine. Yeah, whatever. Semicolons.
Global variables.
Global variables. Anyone else? This. Well, we can debate that for a very long time. Pardon?
Flexibility.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Closer, warmer.
Come on.
Speed.
Yeah?
Object literals that you can't do in Java or other languages.
Fair. Come on, what's the coolest thing about JavaScript? It runs in the browser, yes. So, we're going to chat about building some stuff that runs in the browser. So, obviously, oh no, this isn't going to work. We built some weird stuff that runs in the browser. So, hey, this is a cool thing. It's a clock that uses everyone tell the time off this? It's a clock that uses emojis to tell the time. If you're boring, you can toggle it into the normal mode where it uses the emoji numbers to tell the time. Only in JavaScript. And the question might be, why the hell would I do this? I don't know. The next one comes with a bit of a story. So I live in a house with some mates, and we've got a cat called Grizzly. Grizzly is an adorable black cat. He's great. One day we came home to one of my flatmates, Ben, who was in the lounge with a different black cat. And we were like, Ben, mate, what's up? And he's like, no, it's Grizzly. I'm like, that's not Grizzly. So I built a helpful app for him called Grizzly or Not Grizzly, where you get to play. So the idea was to train him a bit on what our cat looks like. So that's not Grizzly. That's not Grizzly. That's also not Grizzly. That's not Grizzly. That's a dog. That's Grizzly. Isn't Grizzly great? Yeah. Whatever. You can go through. You can do some things. It tells you whether or not you know Grizzly. So there is a point to this. So I made that. I sent it to my other housemate, Rosie, and her reaction was, oh my God, can I send this to everyone I know? My answer was not, oh yeah, it's on my machine. I'll go and show you it on my machine. My answer was no, here's a link. I've deployed it. You can go and play with it. And we're going to talk about how we did that. This isn't just for dumb shit. So Applied, we do blind hiring. I made this tool that helps people analyze their job descriptions. So you put in a job description, it highlights some stuff like gendered language, some bullshit terms like state of the art, whatever. So masculine words like leading and led, stuff that sort of basically helps you, guides you to make your job description as inclusive as possible. I built this. I didn't know if it was going to make money. I didn't know if it was sensible. But I threw it together, and I hosted it in a way that when I started doing it, I wanted it to be scalable and cheap. So it's a React app, so it's just a single-page application chucked on a CDN. It has a backend. The backend is on serverless. And the reason I did that was it's really cheap, so it cost me nothing. And it scales really nicely. So when I first built it, there were like 2 users. It cost me nothing. It now has hundreds of weekly users. Not crazy, but it cost me nothing. If we scaled it up to like millions of weekly users, it would cost me about like £2 a month to host, which is great because, hey, I don't know if it's going to be successful. So what we're going to talk about isn't just something that you can do to make weird shit. You can also make useful, production-ready stuff that has actual users and real people, which is cool. Aha, okay, so when I was thinking about doing this talk, I was like, I'll give a brief history of web hosting. I'm like 28, so I was born in 1990. I started writing code like pretty far down here. Turns out I don't really know much about web hosting, so anyone thinks any of this is wrong, which it might be, feel free to correct me. So, internet born, 1990. And like you put stuff on servers, right? You had dedicated private servers. I had to talk to some friends of mine who have been developers for much longer about how this worked. But you used to like rent an actual physical server in someone else's space, and you'd be able to walk. You could walk to a box in a warehouse and be like, "This is my server." Cool, fine, whatever. Interesting fact: who's ever built a website on GeoCities? Yeah, I built my first website on GeoCities. 1993, GeoCities was released, which is pretty cool. Some time passed. 2006 comes around. People are talking about cloud computing quite a lot. AWS launches in 2006. GCP launched 2 years later. Azure launched God knows how many years after that, whatever. But we entered the range of cloud computing. It's all very exciting. But basically, I could no longer walk into a room and go, that's my server. But I could probably vaguely point at a large building and say my server's somewhere in there. We moved to virtual servers. Then 2015, AWS Lambda launched. Hands up who's used Lambda? Hands up who's used it in production? Awesome. So Lambda's a serverless, like a way to execute code serverlessly. We'll talk about what that means in a second. Spoiler, no, I won't spoil it. So Lambda launched in 2015. And we got to this like no server world where you had serverless computers, functions as a service. And everyone's jumped on that. Most cloud providers give you something that will do that. Tom, what is serverless?
Hello, so serverless is exactly this. So it's a great joke, I just saw it on Twitter and wanted to share it with everyone here. So, yeah, burgers are not vegetarian, who knew? Serverless isn't serverless, who knew? So your serverless function is actually running somewhere managed for you on a cloud provider somewhere. It can be invoked in a number of ways, like a HTTP request. HTTP, too many T's, or like a cron job, or you can just probably click and go run my serverless function please. And it'll execute some code. So what happens is that code's not actually running anywhere. Your code is packaged up as a container, and it will create that container, it will run it, and when it's finished, it will get rid of the container if no one wants to use it. So it's basically that, but in the internet somewhere, anywhere. It could be in any region, any data center, we don't really know. And kind of, yeah, so if anyone's not really done DevOps yet at work, you can kind of skip that and go to NoOps and run your serverless function, all the logs in a nice GUI for you. It's really nice. So why serverless? As Hew mentioned, it's so cheap. I can't remember how much it costs, but I don't
So AWS, your first 1 million calls a month are free. Your next 1 million calls cost 20p. So pretty cheap. 20p. Yeah.
Most people will be like, it costs less than a coffee. Your brain does cost.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So it's really easy to deploy. It's normally like run one line command thing or click on the internet GUI, and it's deployed your serverless function to a region somewhere. They're also really great at scaling. So I mentioned that you could trigger it with something, so that runs your container in the cloud. If someone else hits it, it could go to that container, but if that container's resource usage is too high, it'll spin up another one, and another one indefinitely. And just keep running your application till it could charge you a fortune, but who really cares? It's not your money, is it? The next one, they're encapsulated, so each one's running in a separate sandbox container. Who really knows? It could be sandbox, it's probably not. And they're also really easy to develop because you don't have to think about sharing a state across multiple things. You definitely can't think about that. It removes a whole bunch of challenging things and makes it really easy to work with. Some people have said serverless isn't great for these reasons. So the first one is the overhead of the HTTP requests. Well, yeah, but everyone's web server has that overhead, so who cares, right? Next one, cold starts. Well, yes, if you need your application to respond to users immediately, like as in real-time stuff, then you probably shouldn't be using serverless to solve your problems, or anything with network latency involved, quite frankly. If you do need it to start quickly, there's loads of choices you can make, like not using Node and writing your serverless function in a language more suited, like Go or Rust or anything else, I've forgotten to mention. And also, people are like, oh, if I choose Lambda, I'm locked into AWS and they could put their prices up and my business will be screwed. Hold 20p per million requests. Well, no, there's loads of platforms that solve that problem. Like with a click of a button, I could deploy a serverless function to a bunch of clouds, and I'm about to talk about that later. Also, sometimes local development could be tricky. I was doing some stuff with Netlify recently. They've got a whole build process and loads of fancy stuff, and I couldn't do require, and it was It was really sad, but it's not actually that hard. Just learn how Webpack works and you'll be fine. Also, timeout. All of these platforms have like a max request time. So if, like in your normal web server, you can make the timeout as long as you need it to be. In Lambda, you can make your function times out after 15 minutes. In Netlify, it times out after 10 seconds. But if your user's waiting for that long for something to happen, you've definitely screwed up something else. And yeah, loads of platforms. There's some ones I really want to note here, like Oracle's, FN. I'm sure that one's great.
They bought a startup called FN and they've called it their serverless thing.
I think it's not on-prem.
It is.
Really
it is.
expensive.
They asked us if we wanted to use it, and then they said, "Oh, you just need to spin up a server running it." And I was like, "Nah, I'm all right, thanks."
Good stuff. Sorry if anyone works for it.
Yeah, sorry.
But yeah, loads of providers of serverless functions, which is pretty nice. Cloudflare are based like 5 minutes down the road, which is cool. Their offices are quite nice. But the serverless frameworks, I was talking we could deploy our serverless functions anywhere. We can. With one of the platforms to do that is the serverless framework. It's this open source thing. You basically have a config file that says where you want it to run, or which like regions, providers, whatever, and then they've got kind of a shared abstraction for which language you want to use. Excuse me. And yeah, so that's really great. It also has a really good local developer experience, so you just run
SLS.
SLS,
Yeah.
nice and easy. I did use it once.
SLS
a while
offline
ago.
start, yeah.
Built something for like email forms for my webpage, and no one sent me an email on, but it's still not cost me anything. Can you imagine if I physically hosted that?
Yeah, fair point. Yeah.
You're only for almost a year. Also, it's open source and great and easy local development.
So we're going to deploy
Let's
something.
actually deploy something. So we did promise we'd deploy something in about 2 minutes. To be honest, the biggest latency here is me using Hew's computer. If I pop over to a great little service called Netlify, don't work for them. If anyone's listening, I would like a job, please. I basically log in, it's not great. It's a walk of GitHub and some stuff. I click new site from Git. Click back to authorize. I'm looking for sites on GitHub. I type in the thing I want to deploy, and I click it, and it understands some of my package.jsons and stuff, and I want to run these commands, and I'm going to publish this directory. So I click deploy site, and then we'll wait for like a bit of a minute 30 in silence, waiting for it to happen. And then we can watch the site deploy in progress.
But you can choose which branches you want to deploy. Netlify also does a really cool thing where it deploys. If you make a pull request to your master or staging branch, it will give you a link to go and look at the pull request. So I can then see a version of the site spun up. So if you want to actually do testing, or someone sent you a PR to code review and you're like, what the hell does this look like? You can actually just go and see it, which is awesome. I wish I had that where I worked.
I did use Create React app for this project, so you do have to wait while I download it for 400 megabytes dependencies for no reason. But I promise you, it's all worth it. So what's it doing now?
Has anyone used Netlify? Ah, nice. Does anyone use it in production, like with a business? That's really sick.
It's published on.
Is it? Oh no, I do know that actually because I've seen it. But yeah, it's really cool. Like I've been ridiculously impressed with it. There are some other options. So there's a company called Zeit that make Next and Nuxt, I think. And Zeit now is their platform for this, and it does lots of the same thing. Firebase is very similar.
While on my microphone, and then I make some noise. You see cats appear everywhere. And the louder we are, the higher and bigger the
Come on, we should all.
So
Come on.
see how big.
There are any investors out there that want to sell this as a product? Get in touch. We can.
Yeah. So yeah, Netlify is really great. It took me so you just have your project, you link Git, any pushes you make to your repo are deployed, any branches you check out are deployed as a preview for you. You can do A/B testing, you can deploy functions on there, which is just another name for a serverless function.
Yeah, so the reason we spoke about serverless is because on Netlify you can deploy a serverless backend in a function. It can use JavaScript or Go, I think, which is cool. Lambda can use slightly more, but whatever.
Yeah, and you don't really need to worry about configuration. You just click your buttons on the graphical user interface, and it does it.
Yeah.
So downsides of Netlify, no server-side rendering, which is sad if you want your users to be able to see your site really quickly. The functions are 10 times more expensive than Lambda, so if you actually start getting users for your back-endy stuff, probably move them to a cheaper and more cost-effective platform. And then you don't get to worry about your configuration. Well, you kind of do because it's in your repo and
That's true.
But yeah,
the functions being more expensive is an interesting one. So we've hosted bunches of things on Netlify and we don't pay anything. They don't want credit card details. You need to start paying if you've got like concurrent builds, which if your deploy is taking 55 seconds, it doesn't make any difference. Or if you have like team members. So for most of us, it's a free service, which I think is pretty cool. Then I have a question for you. What's the weirdest thing people have built in JavaScript? Come on. People, I'm not the only one that does this, am I? Don't make me feel like I'm the only one that does this. Nobody. Oh my God, you must have built something weird. Well then, do I have the challenge for you? People of LNUG, I challenge all of you to go and build something weird. Play with a web API you haven't used before. So the noisy kitty thing uses the microphone. I'd never used the microphone in a browser before. Don't know why. But there are loads of...
uses a React hook called use noise, like just for this. If anyone wants to look at how not to make a React hook, it's a perfect example now.
But go have a look through, find some like web APIs that are weird and you've never used. It's a really great way to understand. And like Jordan was saying earlier, the best way to try and understand something is just go and mess around in it. So go have a look and find some weird stuff in the web API that you can use. Build it, host it on Netlify, send us links. So you can tweet LNUG with @LNUG.org and #LNUG. You can tweet us. I would love, I haven't asked Adam if this is okay, I would love next week to show off some weird apps that you've built. Like, we're all slightly weird, intelligent people, so let's make something strange, let's have fun with it. JavaScript is fun, let's do it. Does anyone actually gonna do it? Please say, yeah? You will, yeah, that's worrying. But come on, it'll be fun, you'll learn some new things, you'll learn how to deploy something on Netlify. You can probably make weirder apps than I made or better apps than I made. But yes, so tweet at us. I would love to see some weird stuff this week and this month to amuse me. Thank you very much.